Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. You're watching the PCC Airfoils Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. PCC Airfoils, keeping the engines of change moving forward. Booyah!
And welcome to the pre-Pittsburgh Steelers show.
Yes.
The Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Channel 3. We are 48 hours and 30 minutes from kickoff over at the stadium, the Steelers and the Browns. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about TJ Watt versus Myles Garrett. Who has more sacks in this game? Bull.
Jay, I'm Adam the Bull, and I got to tell you, I don't believe in must games normally in the middle of the season, but this is a gotta have it against the Steelers. If the Browns don't win this game, I think they're in trouble for making the playoffs. If they do win it, I think they're in great shape to make the playoffs. G.
I'm G. Bush, leader of the Kool-Aid Mafia, and I'm going to tell you why DTR is going to be a household name in less than 48 hours. Jason?
Wow.
I'm Jason Lloyd, and you don't even have to watch the game because we're going to give you pre-written headlines. We're going to tell you what happens on Sunday before the game. Mikey.
And I'm Mikey McNuggets, and the Browns' home field advantage is back, and we need to apologize to Browns Nation for having a premature funeral for the Dawg Pound. We're sorry, guys. You're better than that.
Yeah, we earlier this year, I think we asked the question, like, is there even a need for the Dawg Pound because it didn't feel organic anymore?
Yeah.
And I'm not ready to say that the reason that their home field advantage is because of the Dawg Pound. I just think it's a great home field advantage. It's a great crowd no matter where you're sitting, but we'll talk about that. First up, really the rest of the season comes down to one thing. How will DTR play as he's filling in for Deshaun Watson? Now, on the surface, Deshaun Watson, franchise quarterback, most guaranteed dollars in the NFL. When you look at his numbers to this point in the season, he had just 7 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So it's not like he's exactly in the conversation for MVP. Still, I think everybody agrees DTR is not Deshaun Watson. The bigger question for Sunday, guys, can he play better than Kenny Pickett, who hasn't been great, but his team is 6-3 too?
I certainly think he can play better than Kenny Pickett, and I don't have a ton of high hopes for DTR, but I don't think Kenny Pickett's very good. Now, Kenny Pickett's got a lot more experience, and I would argue that Kenny Pickett, because of all the injuries the Browns have sustained, probably has a little more talent around him on offense than the Browns do at the moment, although it's close. But, yeah, I think DTR could have a better game. But if I had to bet who has the better game, I'd probably bet on Pickett, but not by much.
Yeah, you'd have to lean toward Pickett because at least he has the experience. I would take that first Baltimore game, crumple it up, burn it, throw it out. It doesn't matter with DTR. He was really thrown into a bad spot. He was a rookie, found out 2.5 hours before the game it was even going to be him. He had all the practice reps this week. I talk about it all the time. It makes an enormous difference. When you're the guy under center Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it makes a massive difference on Sunday. Can he be better than Pickett? Yeah, he can be. Kenny Pickett, we were talking about on the YouTube show a little bit ago, he's been terrible in first halves of games, even 3 quarters. For some reason, he pulls it together, and he's had some big drives for the Steelers in fourth quarter moments. I still like the Browns' defense in this. They just need DTR. Don't turn the ball over. That's the most important thing. Be safe, be sound. Know where you're going with it. Don't try and force things. Don't try and do some of the Baltimore's throws that we saw into double and triple coverage. Just take what's in front of you, hand the ball off, play action, deep shots on third down. Keep it simple, and the Browns can win this game.
I think DTR is going to come out and he's going to have a tremendous game. Now, what does tremendous mean? I'll take 230. I'll take 225, a touchdown, and maybe a touchdown on the ground. But I think DTR, like Jason said, to his point, throw that away. DTR is a competitor. Go back and watch some of his tape in UCLA. Watch the fire that he plays with. I think he came out and he feels embarrassed about the way he played, and he feels like this is his first time, the opportunity for him to go out and do what he needs to do. We get to the game plans and how the keys to victory. My keys to victory already, I'm going to give you a cliff notes of it. Hey, turn this thing into a college football game. I want to see some read option. I want to see some quarterback draws. I want to see some things that the Pittsburgh Steelers normally don't see. And I think if they can do that to keep him comfortable out of the gun, I think DTR can have a very productive game.
I think the question here isn't, is he going to be better than Kenny Pickett? I think the real question is he going to be better than he was the first time around?
You can't be worse.
And I don't mean better by a little. I mean, significantly better. And to your point earlier, yeah, that was a pop quiz.
Yeah.
It was his first start in the NFL. Can you imagine the butterflies that were swimming in his stomach when at 10:30 the Browns came up to him and said, "You're the guy"?
Yeah.
I'm sure he had some idea that might happen, but still, he looked across the line of scrimmage on that first play, and he didn't see USC's defense. He saw the Baltimore Ravens, grown men, and he was, I think, he was awestruck.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be this time, and I don't think he even has to outplay Kenny Pickett. He just has to not turn the ball over and be significantly better than he was the first time around. 120 yards passing leads to an L. It's got to be better than that. Our next topic, it talks about home field advantage. And McNuggets, you did a lot of research this week, really last week, talking about how significant that advantage is. And I have to say, I got a peek at these numbers. I knew we've been good at home. I was blown away at how good.
Yeah, they've been phenomenal. This season, they've had 5 home games. And in those 5 games, the Browns have outscored their opponents 100-51, and that includes the 28-3 loss to Baltimore in Week 4 with DTR. So if you take out the one DTR start, that is a 97-23 cumulative score at home. And crazy enough, as good as that is, it's 7th best in the NFL.
I would think it
which
would be
goes
better.
to show there are some crazy home field advantages, but the Dawg Pound, like we said earlier, we had said the home field advantage has kind of dwindled a little bit in Cleveland, but this season, in the macro, has been phenomenal.
Yeah, they've
Mikey,
been great.
I don't like that he is now doing what the son-in-law does all the time, is misusing the Dawg Pound. The Dawg Pound is not the whole stadium.
Right.
It's never been the whole stadium.
No.
So you can't keep calling all Browns fans the Dawg Pound, Mikey. It's inappropriate.
I agree with you. And I think the conversation we had earlier, because like part 2 of this discussion after we showed the numbers was going to be, did we prematurely bury the Dawg Pound? Because we did talk about on this show earlier this year about none of us were really huge proponents of it still being called the Dawg Pound.
I still think that's true. It's not the dog. The
It's
Dawg
not.
Pound died with
It's-
the old stadium.
I agree with you, Jason, and I also think that these kind of things have to happen organically, and they don't go on forever.
Right.
They go on for the period of time that era is underway. And to me, that was the Hanford Dixon, Frank Minifield. Those were
Yes.
the dogs. And if you play well enough where you earn a nickname, don't go back to what you used to use. Coin something new and start over.
Not to mention, they were right on top of you. If you were backed up in the end zone, they were close enough to hit them with batteries and dog bones. And that's not the case anymore. It's set so far back at the new stadium just because the way NFL
And
stadiums are
we have
built.
to admit, those guys were welders and electricians that sometimes
Yes.
would leave the game and go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
different
feels
crowd.
far more
It's-
corporate back there now.
The defense has played incredible football at home.
And that's it.
the difference. The offense hasn't been that great at home.
But now the defense is oftentimes sparked by the crowd.
Now here's the thing.
So I think overall, to your point, the crowd's
crowd's been good.
but
Yeah.
it's not the Dawg Pound.
Everybody has to come to the game and start. They got a game just like you got a game.
Don't give those tickets to Steeler fans.
The fans
Don't
are supposed
do that.
to be in there. You're supposed to be warmed up, ready to go. And I coined the phrase, do your part. The Browns are going to do their part to try to get in the end zone. The Browns are going to do their part to make sure they get teams 3 and out. Do your part and be active when you get to the stadium. And I think there should be more calls to fans being active. And once you have a self-fulfilling prophecy, people know that when they get there, they're going to be loud and in charge. We owe them for them terrible towels that they've been bringing to our stadium in the last 30 years. Let's flip the script.
And be on time. Be there for kickoff. You can
tailgate
have all the
15
tailgate
minutes
fun.
early.
Go to tailgate, have your fun, but be aware of the crowds, the lines.
Yeah.
Get in there on time. Be in there for the kickoff. That place is going to be
It
lathered
sucks
up
when
on
Steeler
Sunday.
fans. There's always a lot of Steeler fans there. It sucks. Don't
Yeah.
let them take over the stadium.
What's crazy is they played 5 home games. 3 of them have been wins by 3 touchdowns. Don't remember the last time that happened.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, you'd have to go back way, way, way back. And we're only halfway through. So they've got a lot more home games to go. All right, you mentioned in your lead, you're not going to call it a must-win. You're calling it a gotta-have
close.
game. Yeah, there are levels to must-wins. I
Yeah.
think you're right. There's one must-win. Is your season over if you lose?
Right.
That's a must-win. Clearly the season isn't over. But tell us why, for you, it's just a shade below that.
I look at this game and I say, okay, this happened mid-game. Look what happened to the Bengals when Joe Burrow got hurt last night, right? They cratered. The whole team cratered after Burrow got hurt. It's easy to fall apart when your quarterback gets hurt, especially for the year. Bengals didn't even know Burrow's status. We know that Deshaun Watson is out for the year. No matter how you want to spin it, it's a big deal. But it doesn't have to be the end of the road. Other guys know they have to step up. The defense has to do a ton. But Jim Schwartz made a great point yesterday. He said, hey, we can't try to do too much. That's when we get in trouble. They've just got to keep being great. And I feel like, I do feel like the Browns are going to win a very low-scoring game this week. If they can win, it puts them in great position to make the playoffs. If you lose this game again to the Steelers, then maybe some of the doubts with Watson being out creep in, and some of the defensive players maybe start thinking, well, how much can we do? Especially if they lose because the offense can't do anything and DTR plays well.
Right.
So the defense dominating and DTR playing just a serviceable game. 175 yards and no turnovers. I think they can win with even Minimowski, as G would say, numbers.
Yeah.
If the defense plays great and he doesn't turn it over. I think listen, this team has played with a lot of heart, a lot of toughness, a lot of energy. Even if they lose, I don't believe they're going to fall apart. But there's enough tough games the rest of the schedule that I'm worried about their chances of making the playoffs if they lose this game.
It does steal some momentum for sure.
It's a race to 10. I think 10 gets them in. It's got to be the right 10. And they've got to win over the Colts. That could come into play with tiebreakers.
Yeah.
You've got to beat the Steelers or else you lose the tiebreaker. Like you said, you're really far back. Not to mention, they're on the West Coast for the next 2 after this. That's a big swing. They're not even coming home in between. They're going to Denver, then they're going straight to L.A., so they're going to be out of their routine a little bit. You got to get to 10 wins. I think they can do it. I think there's 4 more wins to get in there, but Denver looks better than we thought they would by beating Buffalo.
Yeah.
The Rams is not a pushover. Houston all of a sudden is a big game coming up. So this is a game, being at home. They got a lot of road games on the second half of the season. This is a big one. I agree with you. It's not a must win. It's a got to have it.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid Mafia, this is a landslide. The Pittsburgh Steelers have no chance coming in. I'm going to let you know right now. Myles Garrett's defense is not letting them come in here to get no points. They're going to be on an all-time level. I'm picking the Browns to roll in this game. DTR looks good. He'll be a household name. And the Cleveland Browns will be 7-3 after this game, and we will look at the Baltimore Ravens and be like, I told you we weren't giving up.
In the interest of time, what you guys said. I'm right there with you. All right, we're taking our first break. It's brought to you by the fine folks at PCC Airfoils. When we come back, Coach Tyvis is going to tell us why one particular backup will be especially big on Sunday. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We're previewing the Browns and the Steelers, which happens Sunday at 1 o'clock. One of the themes to this season for the Browns, and it's this way for many teams in the NFL, injuries. They've been hit particularly hard. A lot of key players have been hurt. One of the guys that we don't know his status on right now is Juan Thornhill. What if he can't go? How will the Browns fill that hole? For that, we throw it to Mikey McNuggets and our coach, Tyvis Pound.
Thanks, Jay. No Deshaun on Sunday means DTR's getting the start, which puts a bigger emphasis on this Browns defense to shut down the Pittsburgh offense. They may be without Juan Thornhill, though, who is dealing with a calf injury. And if he's not playing, that means Rodney McLeod gets thrust into the starting lineup. Thornhill has done a great job this season at stopping big plays on the back end. Yes. And McLeod had a chance to do that last week against Baltimore, and it didn't go so well. So to help us break down safety play and how to eliminate those mistakes, we brought in Coach Tyvis, our resident safety who played safety in the NFL for 4 seasons, to help teach the people out there how McLeod can pick up a thing or two from Juan Thornhill.
Well, as you know, the safety position is near and dear to my heart. So we're going to go through a play where Juan Thornhill did something great, and then we're going to break down what Rodney McLeod could do better. So as we look at this first play, you highlight Juan Thornhill, and you see Ken Walker. Okay, on this play, this ball breaks. And as the post safety, you got to do everything you can to get this ball down. He does a great job of staying on the back hip of this guy, and he does a great job of running it down to get it down on the ground. It's a great angle, great patience, and did everything he could to get him down. Let's see it from the backside angle. It breaks straight through. He's supposed to press it a little bit, but he's staying on the inside hip. So he runs it down, great angle, tackles it down, saves his team from giving up a touchdown.
So that's the good, and great closing speed there by Thornhill. Now let's go to the bad. And last week against Baltimore, McLeod had a chance, and it just didn't work out, but hopefully that can be corrected for this week. Tyvis, walk us through.
Well, that's why I'm here. Let's look right at Rodney McLeod on this one. You can see Rodney's right here in the post, and we're going to look at Mike Ford versus Odell Beckham right there. Odell does a great job coming off of this ball, running this slant, and Mike Ford falls down. But Rodney McLeod has to do a better job of taking an angle. He should cut this off and at least make Odell slow his feet down to get those guys that's behind him a chance to tackle it. He misses the angle. Odell Beckham shows you why he still got the speed. Slant. Rodney McLeod should be right up in that area right there to make Odell slow. He's a little late coming out of his break, and Odell just runs right around him. He's got to take a better angle on that if he want to make some plays this week.
He's a veteran. Do you expect a bounce back from McLeod who can fill those shoes if needed?
Rodney McLeod is a Super Bowl champion. He will get it done.
That's Coach Tyvis. Jay, back to you.
All right, McNuggets, Ty, thank you very much. Great stuff. When we come back, no fence riders. Who's going to have more sacks in this game? Is it TJ Watt or is it Myles Garrett? The panel discusses. The Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show comes right back. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We love to have fun while we're talking about the Browns matchups on this show, and one of the things we like to do is do that through vehicles, games, if you will. McNuggets has a very creative mind. He came up with no fence riders. And Michael, this is very simple. You throw out a statement, and we give you a definitive one way or the other, right?
Yeah, no ride on the fence. It's a yes or no, one
Yes.
side or the other, pick or choose, and let's get to the first one today. Will Myles Garrett or TJ Watt have more sacks on Sunday? The rest of these answers, pretty split down the middle. This one, almost unanimous. Tyvis Powell, the only person on the Watt side of the fence. The rest of you guys roll with Myles Garrett.
Did he tell us why he thought TJ would have more sacks?
He said he liked the matchup against the line better.
Well, there is something to that.
I thought about that.
There is something to that.
But it looks like DeWan is going to be back for this game.
At practice today.
Yeah, so that should help on the TJ. I said we've seen James Hudson against TJ Watt 2 years in a row, and it's been a murder both times.
Yeah, but I want to see that movie again.
If it's James Hudson, I tend to agree with Tyvis.
Yeah.
I'm making my answer on the fact that I think it's going to be DeWan Jones.
I think DeWan's going to play. I think I don't think the Steelers are going to throw the ball a ton, but I think they'll throw more than the Browns will. And the Steelers are more likely to throw deep, giving an opportunity for Garrett because they got the guys that can get down the field a little bit. I'd be shocked if the Browns threw deep much in this game.
I think Highsmith might actually have a better game than TJ Watt, just because he might be playing on the opposite side. It'll be interesting to see if they move TJ Watt around a little bit to get him a matchup. I know the Browns have done that a little bit more with Myles Garrett. We'll see if the Steelers do the same.
Well, if it's Jaron Christian on the left side, the Browns are going to have to shade help to that side.
They are.
To the Highsmith side, and they're going to have to leave DeWan one-on-one a lot of times with TJ. We'll see.
That's scary, being a rookie. He has performed very well this year, but he's still a rookie, and there's still a lot of growing pains going on.
Especially in the past, he's been great.
Yeah.
And at the very least, it takes a while to get around him because he's very large human
Massive.
being.
I went with Myles for the simple fact that I think he's found the top gear to his play. There was always, I felt, just a little something missing, and it was usually the splash plays and the big moments. I don't see that missing anymore. He's playing at a Defensive Player of the Year level. I know that for all the reasons we talked about, I think it's going to be an easier time for TJ to get home, but Myles plays big on Sunday.
Here's the biggest thing. He's driven by the Defensive Player of the Year. He wants it.
He does want
it. And in
it.
a one-on-one matchup against TJ
This is
Watt,
it.
Yeah.
this is his moment to really go for
And
it.
Watt won the stage in game one.
That's
Yeah.
right. So
Go
he's
ahead.
got to do it.
All right, next up, with DTR at quarterback, they may run the ball a lot more, the Browns, so will Jerome Ford have over 100 rushing yards? A pretty split answer here. Myself, J, and G said, yeah, he will break the century mark. The rest of you guys are on the wrong side of the
It's
fence.
based on the
no.
same argument.
Yes, G and I are on the same fence.
Right,
Yeah.
We discussed this on our YouTube show. I don't know.
We were
if this-
throwing chairs at each other.
I don't know if discussion can be used.
You're right.
It got very heated,
It was
and G
top
and I
rope,
were
yes.
on the good side.
Yeah, we were on the winner's side. I think he'll have 100 yards. It might take him 1,000 years.
But it'll be a good game. If it takes him 98 carries to get 100 yards, it's a good
By
game because
golly,
he got
he's gonna
100
get it.
yards.
Look, you know what I always say? If you're able to run the ball 30 or 40 times, you're in good shape. You're usually winning the game. You're definitely not trailing big because there's no need to throw.
Right.
I think it's going to be ugly, and nothing's going to be easy against the Steelers defense, but I think he can get there. I do.
He's gotten there once. Last week was the first time, right?
Hope
No,
so.
he did it against the Steelers in week 2 because of the 70-yard
It was
run.
a 7-yard
Oh, that's
run.
right. Yeah,
Hopefully last week was Jerome Ford's breakout game.
Yes.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
because that was the first game where I looked at him and thought he could be an every down back.
How
in
much
this
was
league.
his ankle a hindrance when he was dealing with
I
that?
mean, he didn't look good when his ankle was healthy, though. Like, he didn't look good prior to the ankle
he looked good
injury.
against the Steelers for
Well, he had
time
one,
with that
the,
big
the
run.
one run. That was
I'll
it.
take it. I'll take it. Okay, what's next?
Last one. Will either team have a double-digit lead at any point in the game on Sunday? This one a 4-3 split. Earl, Tyvis, G, and Jason said yes. Bull J and myself said no.
I love Bolt earlier this week. He barely has one of the teams getting into double digits.
Yeah, my final score is 19 points total, so.
Yes,
I
think it's going to be a typical Browns-Steelers game. It'll be close.
Yeah.
It'll be decided late by whichever team makes the big play.
We thought that last week, and all it takes is a couple of turnovers, short
No,
fields,
you never know.
and the
You're
score
right.
goes up.
No, we did. We all said
That's
it's going to be
true.
low
Yeah.
scoring last week.
I got the Browns rolling. I like the big numbers. Let's go to the big numbers.
Yeah, I know you had said earlier this week something like 35-3.
Yeah.
See if you're still talking about that. All right, McNuggets, what do you got?
If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
All right, we're taking a break. When we come back, Jason mentioned this earlier in the show. You just don't need to watch the game. We're going to tell you in advance who wins and how they do it. It's our favorite segment of the week, pre-written headlines, when the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Channel 3 comes right back. Welcome back, Bull. You've got injury news.
Yeah, Marquise Goodwin, guys, has been ruled out for this game. Juan Thornhill has also been ruled out. DeJuan Jones, that's a big one. He's questionable, but he's practiced 2 days in a row. Michael Dunn, designated to return from IR, is questionable as well. He was a big part of their blocking game the first couple of weeks.
All right, very good. Let's do our pre-written headlines. Bull, you're first.
Yes, I've been saying all week, a low-scoring game. I have the Browns pulling it out. Next man up. DTR's QB sneak in the I think in the fourth quarter, I didn't put it there, leads Browns to a 10-9 win over the Steelers. It'll be the only touchdown in the game. DTR over the top in the fourth quarter to give the Browns a 10-9 win.
Love it.
And listen, as I said, I don't think this game is that close, and I think the Browns come in here fighting for Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb and Jim Brown, and I think the Browns come in here and do the thing. I got the Browns. DTR shows he's more than a rookie. Browns won 27-10, proves haters don't trust reality, and that means DTR. You see what I did there?
Is that Rich Eisen with the hater goggles?
Yeah.
Shout out to Anthony for coming up with
That was
that.
good.
Anthony, that's brilliant.
That's
I
good.
love that. Well done.
Well, I talked about earlier in the show, this is big for Myles. He wants a Defensive Player of the Year award, and he's going up against TJ Watt. And that's why after the game Sunday, it's going to be miles ahead.
Ooh,
Garrett
nice.
strengthens grip on Defensive Player of the Year. I'm calling for 3, a trifecta, a 3-bagger for
okay.
Myles, 3
Okay.
sacks, and the Browns win.
I like the confetti, too. Yeah. And to your point that what they do in the game, even though they're not on the field at the same time.
Oh, they're watching.
These count
Myles
for 2
especially.
games.
100%.
Yeah, and
TJ's got Defensive Player of the Year already. Myles doesn't.
yeah, I know. I just think this is his year. I really do. All right, here's my headline. It's a clean sweep. Well, I don't know how McNuggets is going on this one, but it's really odd that in the week that the Browns lose their starting quarterback, we're all optimistic. Browns get win from 3rd starting quarterback this year. That is a kudos and testament to Kevin Stefanski. He's won with a lot of different quarterbacks during his brief tenure here in Cleveland. DTR steps up, beats the Steelers. I got a close one, a little more high scoring than Bull, but I think it stays right around the 30-point total, 17-13 Browns. I also think that it will take a big play by either the offense or the defense in the waning moments to pull it out. McNuggets, is it a clean sweep, 5-0?
It is a clean sweep, which is a scary thought, but I went with Cleveland. This is for you. For one day, DTR overtakes LBJ as the city's most popular 3-lettered athlete.
That's pretty
after
good.
beating the Squealers.
And I love the Steelers helmet.
Those
the
are
Crying
Crying
Jordans. There's 3 of them.
Anthony was in his bag this week.
good.
Anthony, you nailed it this week. You really did. You nailed it. Very big football game. Of course, we want to remind you that we're going to recap this thing really in real time. We do it every week, the final 2 minutes of the game. So at the 2-minute warning, find the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, type it into the YouTube search bar. It will take you there. I promise you it will be some of the most fun viewing that you experience all week because it always seems to come down to the very end. And Monday through Friday, 11 to 1, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube. The beauty of this is if you're working, you can't watch us then. View it on demand anytime, day or night. Enjoy the game Sunday. We'll see you on Monday when they're 7-3.
We got 10 seconds left. Little breaking news, too.
Do it.
Steelers injury side. Neither Minkah Fitzpatrick nor Keanu Neal practiced on Friday.
Oh,
Minka's running. He's running after that Nick Chubb.
yeah, he is.
Karen Christian definitely starting at left tackle again this week, too. That's
All right, very good. Enjoy the game. See you next week.
Peace.